Hey guys, it's me, Stephanie, and I just wanted to give you an update. A lot has happened since the last time I recorded. I continued to get progressively worse, unable to walk some days. The last thing, let's see, I went to the hospital and was hospitalized for 3 days. I was poked numerous times because I have no veins left. After being in the hospital so many times and having so many blood draws and IVs. So I got poked multiple times, and I believe as a result from that, I ended up getting a blood clot from my pinky finger all the way up to just 3 centimeters shy of my axillary vein, which is where it goes into deep vein thrombosis. So that happened. I was put on Xarelto. About 3 days later, I couldn't move my left leg. Well, I could move it, I just couldn't really feel it or use it. And then I got a massive migraine right behind my left eye. And that's when I decided to go to the emergency room. They rushed me to critical care because they thought I might be having a brain bleed or a stroke. Thankfully, I was not. I was just having what they call a complex migraine, which I guess can mimic the sound or the symptoms of a stroke. Please excuse all the jingling. I have a dog playing in the background. So a few days after that, I finally got it in me to tell my husband that we have to test for mold, or I was leaving with or without him. And he was on board. His parents owned the house that we lived in, so it was kind of between him and them. They live out of state, so we're in charge of upkeep. Unfortunately, while I was sick, I wasn't able to keep up the house, and my husband wasn't able to keep up the house either, for reasons I am not sure. But when I told my husband about being pretty convinced that I had mold toxicity, he told me about a box that he had found about 2 weeks ago that was covered in black mold in the basement. It was right under a leak from the wall that he had also known about. So we moved. I moved out immediately. I went to my sister's house for a few days, and then I went to a hotel until I could find us temporary housing. Within that week, I was able to find a apartment that we could have furnished, and we were in by the week's end. So I am out of the house, and I am feeling about 90% better. I felt better after about 4 days. I tried going into the house to get some things, and I couldn't last 5 minutes without my lungs burning and just feeling incredibly nauseous, and it was just really, really bad. The remediation people had already told me that everything in the house needed to go, except for very sentimental objects, which they would try to clean, but they had no promise of that. So yeah, we lost everything. The house is being gutted. Drywall out, subflooring out. Everything that we owned ended up in a dumpster. I got the air results came back really, really bad. Our mold guy said it was the worst he's ever seen. Really bad, and I'll include a screenshot of what those were. Kind of hard to tell without reference of what the ranges mean, but basically you're not really supposed to have more mold in your house than what is outside, and we had 100,000 times that, 500,000 times that in some cases. And that is what I was breathing, and that's what I was too sick to leave, but it's what was making me sick. I am working through resentment on that. Just because it was and has been so frustrating to go from test after test trying to figure out, is this autoimmune? What is this? And always the test coming back normal, because Western medicine doesn't really treat mold. I guess that physicians do not learn about molds and impacts on health in medical school. So my physician has referred me out to a functional medicine doctor. Unfortunately, I can't afford that, especially now that we have had to replace everything we own. On one hand, it's really kind of nice being in a minimalist house, which is what I've always wanted. I do best when there's no clutter and things are easy to clean and everything has a spot. I don't think it's an OCD thing. I think it's just a way that I function better. But I can breathe again. That deep breath feels amazing. I'm not constantly feeling like I'm starving for oxygen, which is how I was feeling at the end. I don't have to have assistance, walking to the bathroom or washing my hair in the shower or just holding me up because a shower was too much for me. And now that I am thinking about it, there was probably a lot of mold in the shower, and when the steam came on, it probably kicked a lot of that up, which probably also made showering very hard for me. My family is doing mostly well. I do see now that I'm learning about mold toxicity, some of the symptoms in them. Fortunately, I say that with a grain of salt. I was/am the canary in a coal mine. I'm grateful that it wasn't my children. They and my husband were able to go to camp and to work and to school, so they didn't spend half of the amount of time at home that I did. I'm just really grateful to have it figured out and to be feeling better. I think I was at greater risk for sensitivity because of my gastro issues from my gastric bypass. I think that has kind of put me at a disadvantage when it comes to a healthy immune system. But it is what it is, and we're out and the house is being cleaned, and there's sadness knowing that, like, one, I'm never going to go back to the house that I left. Two, I don't really trust a house that made me so sick. Like, I know that doesn't really like make sense in a logical way, but I feel like a place that I was supposed to feel safe in, I don't necessarily feel safe with it, just because of the absolute nightmare that I was living from it. Let's see, I think we're gonna be in this temporary housing for 3 months, at least that's what the lease was signed for. And I don't know how much time it's gonna take to put in the floorings, fix the drywall. We're gonna have to paint every room in the house. We're gonna have to replace cabinets and countertops because the mold was just everywhere, and it was a lot. So there's sadness there. There's things like photos and my wedding dress and wedding album that had to go. Family heirlooms that we had to go. The girls' things that they loved and cherished had to go. And, you know, there is sadness in that, but I'm trying to focus on the abundance of what we're getting in return, which is a healthy mom that can actually participate in life. That's what I'm grateful for and focusing on, and I hope that, by modeling that my girls will get that too. Yeah, I mean, I've gotten so much by letting go of so much. It's actually kind of freeing. It's relieving to have validation of what I always suspected. So that's good. It's good. It's hard, but it's good. And what I've realized is that when things are uncomfortable, those are the lessons that you're supposed to be learning, and that being uncomfortable is a sign of growth. And I have noticed a big change in me since I asserted myself about the house and how something needed to be done. I feel myself more in myself, and less willing to take shit anymore. Excuse my language. I am a little bit over fearful of mold coming back. So like any drip, anything, I'm wiping up and I'm disinfecting, and it might be a little bit overkill. And I'm working with my therapist on that, and also letting go of the resentment and the fear, and because those things are only going to keep my head sick, What they say, resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. That's not how I want to live. I want to be free. I'm free of the mold and the sickness, and everything is starting new. It's kind of like having a reset button. Nothing in my house right now is from my old house. Nothing. So I feel safe in that. I'm really cautious with having fruit in the house, which molds easily. And like I said, any spills or drips or anything like that. I just don't have room for error right now, at least not mentally. Mentally, I feel like I can control it, but I guess that's the lesson, is that you can't really control anything, and that the more I try and control it, the less control I actually have. These videos are good for me because I'm able to talk stuff out like that and have like those, oh, yeah. So it's a practice, letting go, turning things over to a higher power, to the universe, to God, whatever, The things I can control, I will, and the things that I can't. So anyways, just wanted to give you that update. I thought a little good news would be nice for my channel. I'm feeling good. Right now I have there's my puppy. Right now I have no gastro problems. Knock on wood. And things are going along great. And we have this beautiful new girl in our lives that we rescued. We rescued her just before we found out about the mold. Weird timing, but it is what it is. Her name is Daisy. She's a 6-month-old golden retriever. She is all happy, all love, all the time. And actually, she, I think, is what motivated me to push for finding out about mold, because I got her in hopes that it would help get me out of bed and exercise when I didn't feel like it, because I had to, because she needed me. But as that happened, I realized that I have to go further than that, and I had to advocate for myself and my family, and I did. And sorry for patting myself on the back for that so much, but it took me 2 years. It took me 2 years to be able to speak up for myself and stand up for myself and set a boundary and stick to it, which is a really, really big deal. So therapy's working, I guess. I hope you are all well. Thank you so much for always being so supportive. And yeah, I hope I just can continue with good news and positivity. Anyways, I'll talk to you later. Bye.